my fault.
Um,
My agent got me the wrong details on that one.
Back to the Travis thing though.
Yeah.
You made a connection to Route 91, and I haven't thought about that in a long time, bro. I have something I'm going to do regarding Route 91 that I want to run by you. It's a really cool idea, and
Sure.
I'm not going to run it to you on the podcast because I don't want someone stealing my idea because it's that good.
Gotcha.
But let's talk about for a second how important it was for the Vegas community, especially the Henderson community who lost Quentin, for the Golden Knights to come in the season they had in the 2018 season right after the Route 91 travesty. I think the connection between the travesty of the most deadly mass shooting of all time and the Golden Knights becoming a franchise and going to the Stanley Cup is almost the most important story in sports history. I think it's up there.
Yeah, and there's no question that I don't think one would have happened without the other. I mean, don't get me wrong, Route 91 happened without the Knights. That happened first. But the Golden Knights would not have rose to, success.
Showing up at England's house going with knives blaming him for Route 91. Could you imagine?
Yeah. No, I mean, it was one of those things where it was like the city needed someone, and all of a sudden there were a bunch of guys that were cut from their teams to go to this new expansion team. So these were the guys that were left out. So these were the guys that needed a fan base, and we were a fan base that needed guys to root for. So we each equally needed one another. And the players played for us, and we cheated like hell for them because they were the only thing that had to keep us going, and we were what kept them going. And together we got through it. And, the next morning, blood donation lines were wrapped 3 times around, we're talking 6 to 8 hour wait times. People were going out of their way to empty their pantries to donate food and water. I mean, we all saw the reaction. Every major city in the world reached out to us, which is the one thing that I think that we forget when I see hockey games and I see Knights fans being dicks to people like what happened with those Avalanche fans during the playoffs last year. I mean, I get it. Hockey's a sport, right? Chirping's part of the sport. You got to talk shit. You got to talk trash. That's part of the game. That's part of what makes it fun. But, I mean, there's a line to be crossed. There's a line where, I mean, it goes from just talking trash and it's just in good fun and part of the game to just being borderline just disrespectful. And, I mean, I think that Vegas forgets that Colorado, as well as every other major city in America, were, part of the movement that would fly the Vegas strong flag and run those advertisements and get the word out to people and lend out their hearts and their prayers to us as well when we were recovering. And I think that just a lot of people have forgotten that and forgotten that we owe those hockey clubs and those cities overall back the same decency. But yeah, I don't think that I think that I wish Route 91 wouldn't have happened. I can't say like, oh, I'm glad it happened because the Knights are successful. I wouldn't have, if the Knights never made it to where they are, that is what it is. If they would have had a year sort of like, no offense, what the Kraken are having, that's just whatever. It's sports. It's just a game at the end of the day. But, I would trade anything to go back and stop that night from happening. But the fact that it did happen has led us to where we are. And the Golden Knights are a huge part of why the city overall was able to just rebuild and recover. I mean, we're never going to be fully recovered. We're never going to be fully recovered. There's still going to be scar tissue. I mean, that day in Vegas, even I thought, there was a huge, condo high-rise located like down at the intersection of Sahara and whatever the festival ground. I don't even know. I guess it's Las Vegas Boulevard and Sahara at that point where the actual festival grounds were. And even I would look up at the building and just think like, anyone can go on there and just, there could be a copycat killer. Anyone could do the same fucking thing. It's overlooking the crowd.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the people in New York City look at the New York skyline and look at the New World Trade Center and think the same thing about that. Or, it's just, there are, people in New Orleans, I'm sure, look at houses and think, if there's another hurricane, my house is gone. It's like there are, major events leave scar tissue, and that's just it. But we can't live in fear, and we got to move forward, and we got to keep living our lives and doing what we want to do for fun. And, that's what we did last weekend, and that's what we're going to do in September for Life is Beautiful, and that's what we're going to do with every other music festival that comes here because, we are above the evil that comes into this world.